Part 46. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ru Xiahua. Chapter 451. Every day is packed with activities, and life is so fulfilling. The Zhi website has been online for nearly a month, and the rate of new users has slowed down significantly, because the daily user activity of the various sections designed by Li Yuan is still high. And the game Honor of Kings, which Li Yuan values the most, has also entered the final stage. According to the reports of Hu Zhenqiang and Xiezheng, the game structure of Honor of Kings, the skills and modeling of various heroes, etc. have been completed, and even various dubbings have been dubbed by some professional dubbing actors. Around the end of December, around New Year's Day, the game will enter the stage of internal testing, and it is only one step away from the real launch. This game has been developed since the beginning of September, and it has been nearly 3 months now. It took about 4 months to get to the internal test. This progress is very fast for a large game. As for the novel Battle of the Stars, due to the large amount of rewards from many fans and the popularity of the Circle, the sales have soared, and the manuscript fee this month has reached a shocking 8 million. Such a terrifying sales volume almost occupies half of the Yuandian Chinese website, and the monthly manuscript fee continues to create a historical record in the online literature circle. If the sales dividends brought by the publication of the physical book Battle of the Stars are added, the manuscript fee and copyright income alone will reach the 8-digit level this month. What surprised Li Yuan the most was the continued popularity of the Chayan Use milk tea brand. Because the environment, taste, and service have received consistent praise, and this is a milk tea brand created by Li Yuan, Chayan Use has directly become the most high-end milk tea brand in the country. There is an endless stream of people queuing up to buy every day, which has become a symbol of a young person's fashion check-in. The slogan "The first cup of milk tea in autumn" has resounded throughout the country and has become a symbol. After finalizing the 30 new stores for expansion, Li Yuan has discussed with Zhongtingyu, Baiwuxi, and Suyunding and is ready to start a new event. The new event was finally determined to be the Milk Tea Sisters Selection event. Li Yuan plans to join hands with Zhi website to launch a nationwide Milk Tea Sisters selection activity. Issue a sky-high bonus to select the most beautiful milk tea sister in the country, continue to promote the brand of Chayan Use, and enhance its influence nationwide. For more than a week, Li Yuan was very busy. Because of his guilty conscience, he spent more time with his 3 real girlfriends, Zhongtingyu, Xiaozhaijian, and Baiwuxi. Because time is limited, naturally, he spent less time with his spare tire girlfriend Qi Siyu. After more than a week, after going through the procedures of transfer, tax payment, and real estate certificate, Qi Siyu got the first red book in her life as she wished. Ziyu Mansion, Building 20, Room 2603. Liang Jing looked at the brand new property certificate in Qi Siyu's hand, full of envy. Siyu, congratulations, you have your first house in your life, and you will be a Shanghainessa in the future. He, thank you. You have just been working for more than a year, and you are worth 1 million. He, can I call you, see you little rich woman in the future? Humph, Jing Jing, you are laughing at me again. How can I laugh at you? I envy you too much. This is a house bought in full, and it is really worth 1 million. He, see you, this is such a memorable moment in life, don't you show it off. Qi Siyu's beautiful eyes lit up after hearing Liang Jingjing's suggestion. Yes, it seems that I should show it off, and it can also drive away some flies. As she said, she took out her mobile phone, opened the property certificate, and happily took a picture. Then, she edited the photo, covered some sensitive information, uploaded it to her QQ space, and posted a comment. The best birthday gift I have ever received, thank someone, love you, moi. Shy JPG, love JPG, kiss JPG. Liang Jingjing looked at Qi Siyu's post and asked in surprise. Siyu, Why don't you tag Li Yuan? Post a photo of the two of you. Hearing Liang Jingjing's question, Qi Siyu's joyful mood became a little disappointed, and she explained softly. Jingjing, in early October, I used Li Yuan as a shield to reject Peng Cheng, and then the news that I was in love with my student was spread by Peng Cheng. The leaders of the college talked to me privately and asked me to pay attention to the impact and not to fall in love with my students, so. Qi Siyu's voice was a little low. She also wanted to show her love openly, but because of her identity, she didn't dare. Liang Jingjing understood immediately. They were both university teachers in the system and needed to be strictly managed by the school. In this era, although it is very open, teacher-student love is still difficult to be recognized and accepted by society. In fact, Qi Siyu is just Li Yuan's college counselor and has never taught Li Yuan any courses, so it can't be considered a true teacher-student relationship. Siyu, today is the day you get your certificate. How about we invite Li Yuan to our house to celebrate, Liang Jingjing suggested. He, if you want to capture a man's heart, you must first capture his stomach. We also have a kitchen here. Both of us can cook. Let's cook a few dishes together and invite Li Yuan to taste them. Liang Jingjing said, and then stared at Qi Siyu expectantly, hoping that she would agree to invite Li Yuan over. In this way, the bold idea in her heart can be realized. When Li Yuan was mentioned, Qi Siyu's eyes became bright and bright. In the past 2 weeks, she had only met Li Yuan twice, and both times they played poker in the car. Shall I call him? Thanks to Christmas 1979 for the 1,500-point reward, and the Operation Officer Fallen Leaves Rise with the Wind, Sad People Alone for the 1,600-point reward. Thank you both. Chapter 260, Best Friends Come Together, Passive Experience Double Happiness. Qi Siyu dialed Li Yuan's phone with trepidation. The phone rang for more than 20 seconds before it was connected. On the other end of the phone, the surrounding voices were a bit messy, and Li Yuan seemed to be talking. Hello, Teacher Qi, is there anything? Qi Siyu asked gently, Student Li Yuan, are you free tonight? Jingjing and I cook some dishes at home and want to invite you to dinner. After Qi Siyu finished speaking, she waited nervously for Li Yuan's answer, fearing that he would directly refuse. On the other end of the phone, Li Yuan paused, as if thinking, and answered after a moment. Since the two teachers have made such a kind appointment, I have to go and try the cooking skills of the two teachers tonight. Hearing Li Yuan's agreement, Qi Siyu's hanging heart finally let go, and she answered in a sweet tone. Yes, then see you there, let's go buy vegetables first. Li Yuan replied, yes, see you there. Liang Jingjing hurriedly asked expectantly, how is it, did Li Yuan agree? Qi Siyu nodded, yes, he said he would come. Liang Jingjing's eyes lit up, and she smiled and said, that's good, let's go buy vegetables. Do you know what kind of food Li Yuan likes to eat? Qi Siyu shook her head, how do I know his taste, but his hometown is in northern Anhui, he should be better than you like Anhui cuisine, right? When Liang Jingjing heard that Li Yuan's hometown was in northern Anhui, her eyes suddenly lit up. Her hometown was not too far from Li Yuan's hometown. Siyu, let's go buy vegetables together and cook some specialties tonight. Yeah. I haven't cooked for half a month. Me too, it's a bit troublesome to cook by myself. But I have to cook well today. I want to make braised pork. My mother taught me. I think it's delicious. Li Yuan should like it. I can make pickled fish, but I'm not very skilled at slicing fish. At the Chayan USE Milk Tea headquarters, Li Yuan and Zhong Tingyu were listening to Su Yunting's report on the recent revenue of Chayan USE and the Milk Tea Sisters selection event. Mr. Li, Mr. Zhong, in the past 2 weeks, the brand effect of our Chayan USE has continued to ferment. The total daily revenue of 10 stores is basically more than 1 million yuan. Su Yunding reported the results that shocked the industry and looked at Li Yuan with respect. Thinking of some of the questions raised by customers, he prepared a draft in his mind and made sure it was not abrupt before speaking. Mr. Li, some special customers have raised some questions. What can be redeemed for the special rewards they have drawn? Zhong Tingyu pursed her lips and smiled lightly, then continued, jokingly. Mr. Li, the reason why our Chayan Use is so popular now is all thanks to the support of your female fans. Hee, I also heard some discussions. They all said that as long as you buy more milk tea, you may be able to draw the special prize. The special prize is Mr. Li's concert ticket. Zhong Tingyu looked at Li Yuan's slightly embarrassed expression and blinked her beautiful eyes charmingly. The casually tied hair and the deep red bow made her charming face more pure and lovely. Senior, when are you going to hold a concert? Li Yuan smiled. He was not going to hold a concert. He was not going to enter the entertainment industry. I didn't say I would hold a concert. That was just their own guess. Seeing Li Yuan denying it, Zhong Tingyu joked, I heard from managers so that several girls bought thousands of cups of milk tea in order to win the special prize. If they knew that you didn't hold a concert, they would be very angry. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 452. Li Yuan was surprised and said, they bought thousands of cups of milk tea? Are they so crazy? Can they finish all the milk tea? Zhong Tingyu pursed her lips and chuckled, explaining, busy man, you don't know this, right? There is one in our school. I heard that she is a sophomore. She buys hundreds of cups of milk tea every day and distributes them in her college. She has become famous in our school forum. Everyone says she is your number one fan. By the way, this sophomore is said to be very beautiful. Do you want to meet her? Li Yuan smiled awkwardly. Little Moon is jealous. Ahem, Manager Su, have you come up with the plan for the Milk Tea Sisters selection activity? As a professional manager, Su Yunting admires Li Yuan's Milk Tea Sisters selection plan. Because, the first cup of milk tea in autumn has proved how far-sighted Li Yuan is, and directly made Chayan Use famous in the national milk tea industry. It has rapidly spread to other cities across the country with Shanghai as the base point. In the milk tea industry, although Chayan Use has only been on the market for less than a month and has only 10 stores in Shanghai, some people in the industry have already listed Chayan Use as the #1 milk tea brand in the country. This is also a good time for Li Yuan to choose. In 2008, the milk tea industry had just started, and it was an era of flourishing. All of them were regional brands, and there were no national big brands or even listed companies like those later. Mr. Li, I have already got the plan, and Mr. Zhong has also made suggestions for revisions. Su Yunding took out a plan and handed it to Li Yuan respectfully. This is the plan revised by Mr. Zhong, please take a look. Zhong Tingyu had seen it, and Li Yuan was not surprised. This milk tea shop was originally opened for her, and she participated in the whole process. If Li Yuan is the chairman of Zhihu, King of Glory and Chayan Use, then Zhong Tingyu is the general manager who is specifically responsible for Chayan Use. Li Yuan took the plan and read it carefully. It was much richer than he imagined. Among them, a new PK plan was added. First, open auditions were held in major universities and cities across the country, and then PKs were held in different provinces to determine the top 10 milk tea sisters in the country. The winners will receive different levels of bonuses. The Milk Tea Sisters selection event will be held from Christmas Day, divided into 3 stages, and last for 1 month. The reason why it starts from Christmas is that by that time, the other 30 newly expanded milk tea shops will all be renovated and officially open for business, which will facilitate the popularity. It is not that Li Yuan worships foreign things. Besides, in this era, if you want to be a successful businessman, there are some social phenomena. If you are too averse to them, then don't think about making a fortune. Li Yuan put the plan together and nodded. This plan is very good, let's follow it. Xiao Yueliang, you should communicate more with Zhaijin recently. I asked her to be responsible for the opening of a special column on Zhihu, and will warm up in advance. When Zhong Tingyu heard Li Yuan asking her to communicate with Xia Zhaijin, a strange color flashed in her eyes, feeling a little weird, but it seemed natural. Li Yuan is really a playboy. He wants to do everything in one night? Zhong Tingyu rolled her eyes at Li Yuan and replied in a proud tone, yes, I know. After discussing the matter of Cha Yan Use, Li Yuan first took Zhong Tingyu and Su Yunting to have a simple meal in the mall. After Su Yunting left, Li Yuan held Zhong Tingyu's hand and thought about what kind of excuse he should come up with later. According to the agreement between the three sisters Zhong, Xia, and Bai. Today, he belongs to Zhong Tingyu. The three of them didn't know that Li Yuan had found a new girlfriend, who was a university teacher. Zhong Tingyu stared at Li Yuan with expectation. Senior, what are we going to do now? Do you have any arrangements? Li Yuan looked at Zhong Tingyu's cheering and expectant eyes, and suddenly felt guilty. I am indeed a bit too fickle. I have several beautiful girlfriends, but I am still not satisfied. I am still flirting with other girls. I am really a scumbag. Xiao Yu, I have something else to do tonight. I may come back very late and cannot accompany you. Li Yuan thought of an excuse, but was afraid that she would be sad, so he hurriedly said. Next time, I will accompany you well. Hearing that Li Yuan had something else to do, the smile on Zhong Tingyu's face disappeared in an instant. Even the arm that was tightly holding Li Yuan quietly loosened. Zhong Tingyu's beautiful eyes stared at Li Yuan tightly, and she looked like she was about to cry. Li Yuan felt even more guilty. He even wanted to reply to Qi Siyu directly and let her go. Before he could speak, Zhong Tingyu spoke aggrievedly. Senior, I just want to stay with you for a while longer. Li Yuan touched Zhong Tingyu's head and sighed in his heart, Little Moon, I'm sorry, I will try to come back as soon as possible. Zhong Tingyu didn't ask Li Yuan what he was going to do, just looked at him and nodded gently. Well, then I'll wait for you. Li Yuan smiled and nodded. Zhong Tingyu said again, by the way, Senior, my mother said she will come to the Magic City tomorrow and wants to see me and you. Li Yuan said quickly, Aunt Gu is coming? Then I will talk to Zhaijin tomorrow and I will accompany you to meet Auntie tomorrow. Zhong Tingyu suddenly became beaming, yes, thank you, Senior. After sending Zhong Tingyu back to the Xingawan villa, Li Yuan drove to the Ziufa community. Along the way, Qi Siyu had called him several times to ask when he would arrive and the meal was already ready. As soon as Li Yuan entered the house, he could already smell a spicy fragrance overflowing from the kitchen and rushing into his nose. Tisk, tisk, smell the smell of this kitchen, are you eating dark cuisine today? Li Yuan felt a little uneasy. He really didn't dare to have too many expectations for Qi Siyu and Liang Jingjing's skills. No matter how you look at them, they don't look like they are good at cooking. To be precise, among the girls he knew, only Xia Zhaijin, a well-behaved and sensible girl, was the best at cooking. Seeing Li Yuan arrive, Qi Siyu hurriedly walked over wearing a kitchen robe specially designed for cooking. Her long, slender, white legs were clearly exposed, and her convex and concave devil figure had a unique uniform at temptation feeling at this moment. Li Yuan, are you finally here? The food is almost cold. Liang Jingjing was also dressed in cool clothes, and seemed to have a touch of figure. The kitchen robe she wore was carefully selected to highlight her good figure. Liang Jingjing smiled and joked, Mr. Li, if you don't come, Siyu will be so anxious that she will go find you in person. Qi Siyu glanced at Li Yuan shyly, no way, it's just that the food is getting cold. Li Yuan, you must be hungry. You sit down first and I will serve the food. In this two-bedroom house, the dining room is connected to the living room. It is very small, just like an ordinary family. A table was filled with various stir-fried dishes and soups. Li Yuan felt a little surprised just by the appearance of the dishes, which were very different from the dark cuisine he expected. Li Yuan picked up a piece of braised pork and took a bite. He extended his thumb and praised. I didn't expect that the dishes made by the two teachers were really delicious, which was a bit unexpected. Hearing Li Yuan's compliment, Chi Siyu's face lit up, and he introduced the braised pork dish with a smile. I learned this braised pork dish from my mother. I use pork belly cut into cubes, add carrots and boiled eggs. I've made it several times before, and I thought it was delicious, so I wanted to make it for you to try. Liang Jingjing had already taken the initiative to pour a full glass of red wine for Li Yuan, and only poured a small glass for herself and Chi Siyu. Li Yuan, tonight Siyu and I cook for you for the first time, hee. Are you impressed? Li Yuan smiled and joked, that must be touching. Liang Jingjing picked up the wine glass and joked, if you are moved, just leave. With that said, Liang Jingjing drank the red wine in the glass directly, then pointed the mouth of the glass down and gestured towards Li Yuan. Anyone who has drunk alcohol will understand this action. Liang Jingjing's meaning is obvious, if I do it, you will do it too. Seeing Liang Jingjing's bold appearance, Li Yuan smiled in his heart, picked up the wine glass, and drank it down in one gulp. Liang Jingjing saw Li Yuan really drink a large glass of red wine, and there was a cunning look in the depths of his eyes. Li Yuan, you have a really good drinking capacity. My sister is willing to go out of her way to drink with you tonight. Come, let's stay together until we get drunk. Okay, I didn't expect the two teachers to drink well. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 453. After eating the dishes cooked by the two female teachers and drinking a brand of red wine I didn't recognize, it soon reached 9 o'clock in the evening. All three of them were drunk. Even Li Yuan was already a little drunk. He drank nearly 3 bottles of red wine by himself. Liang Jingjing was particularly active tonight. She not only found various reasons to take the initiative to drink with Li Yuan, but also deliberately chose to pick up the leftovers. Li Yuan, see you two should wash up first. I'll clean up. Because he was drunk, Li Yuan couldn't drive back. He sent a message to Zhong Tingyu, then put his arms around Chi Siyu and entered the bedroom to compete again in card games. I have to say that Chi Siyu, who is already 25 years old, really seems to be mature. Her whole body is full of temptation, and every move and gesture is full of the temptation of a mature royal sister. After a while, a unique and rhythmic music melody came from the bedroom. As a music teacher, the songs Chi Siyu sings while playing poker have a unique charm, like magic sounds, which can evoke the 7 emotions and 6 desires in the heart, cleanse the restless soul, and comfort the tired body. In the living room outside the bedroom, Liang Jingjing put on the specially purchased QQ pajamas and listened to the duet music from Chi Siyu's room. The hot flame in her heart lingered, burning from her lower abdomen towards her mind. After a moment, it spreads all over my body. Wait and wait, wait and wait. She waited until after 11 o'clock in the evening. If it weren't for a certain obsession in her heart that drove her, she would have fallen asleep long ago. But thinking about what would happen if the plan succeeds tonight, all the sleepiness in my mind immediately dissipates. This was when she finally persuaded Chi Siyu and allowed Li Yuan to come to the house and drank a lot. If you can't seize such a huge opportunity at the right time, right place, then you might as well give up on this mental arithmetic. Liang Jingjing heard the sound gradually disappearing from Qi Siyu's bedroom, and then tiptoed to the bedroom door, secretly looked inside, and muttered nervously in her heart. Li Yuan, you drank so much red wine tonight, should you fall asleep now? Gently pushing open the bedroom was very dark, with only the dim light of the waning moon squeezing into the bedroom, trying to bring a little light. Liang Jingjing walked into the bedroom with her body trembling slightly. She was very familiar with the layout of this bedroom. Even though it was very dark, she easily found the big bed where she had slept before. Touching the bed, Liang Jingjing could clearly hear the slight snoring of Li Yuan, who had fallen asleep. In his arms, there was Qi Siyu's looming silhouette, revealing her perfect devilish figure. Because it had just entered autumn, the two of them only had a thin blanket covering them, and there were still traces of the battle between the two on it. Liang Jingjing came to Li Yuan's side with her heart pounding. She carefully lifted the thin blanket, stretched out her little hand tremblingly, and gently groped Li Yuan's body. After a while, I saw that Li Yuan hadn't woken up yet. Liang Jingjing's heart was relieved, and she twisted her body, climbed onto the bed, huddled beside the bed, stretched out her head, opened her sexy mouth, and kissed the person she had been thinking about all day long. I got it. His taste is truly unforgettable. Liang Jingjing murmured in her heart. At this moment, she seemed to have entered a special state, as if she was self-taught. All kinds of ideas suddenly flooded into her mind, and she put them into action, using all her abilities. And Li Yuan was just 18 or 19 years old, a tireless age, and had been blessed by rebirth. That night, Li Yuan seemed to have a real dream. This dream was so real that it was hard for him to talk about it. Chapter 261 The news brought by the mother-in-law, earning tens of millions per month. After waking up the next day, Li Yuan glanced at Qi Siyu and Liang Jingjing with complicated expressions, and saw the two of them looking at him with a guilty look. Then he recalled that Liang Jingjing deliberately persuaded him to drink last night, and everything became clear. Needless to say, he also understood that this was what the best friends had discussed, and everything was planned in advance. Li Yuan glanced at the two of them and said calmly, "Teachers, I have something to do today, so I'll leave first." After Li Yuan left, Qi Siyu and Liang Jingjing looked at each other, and their hearts suddenly felt that something was not right about Li Yuan's reaction. According to their predictions, the two of them took the initiative to plan this matter. It was Li Yuan who enjoyed it, and it was Li Yuan who also enjoyed sexual happiness. Li Yuan should be very happy. How could he have such a dull reaction? Moreover, Liang Jingjing thought that when he was in the bedroom last night, Li Yuan was in a very high mood, and he should be in a state of enjoyment. Is this when you wake up and pull up your pants so you don't recognize anyone? Or should I say? Liang Jingjing thought of a possibility, and a thoughtful smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. Humph, men are all duplicitous guys. After Li Yuan left the Ziufa community, he patted his head and thought about the madness last night, still feeling like he was in a dream. This was his first experience of a multiplayer poker game. What happened in the Star River Villa on Baiwaxi's birthday was not, strictly speaking, a multiplayer game. Oh, I was careless. I didn't expect Liang Jingjing to be so crazy and bold, and actually dare to do this, Li Yuan muttered in his heart. Last night, although he drank a lot of red wine and felt a little drunk, he did not expect that it was Liang Jingjing at first. After Qi Siyu came over, he suddenly sobered up, and then he could only pretend to be drunk and passively enjoy the personal service of the two teachers. Although the feeling last night was indeed very comfortable and exciting, it made the adrenaline soar continuously and release the primitive wildness. But there is indeed an unspeakable sense of guilt in his heart. He felt that he was developing in the direction of a real scumbag, and he already felt a little bit of meat and vegetables. If the girls he liked were like Baiwaxi and Zhong Tingyu, he would not only accept it, but also be very happy to see that situation. But with Qi Siyu and Liang Jingjing, he did not have that kind of feeling of liking. For Qi Siyu, he originally had a special desire in his heart, which was far greater than liking. If Qi Siyu was a virgin, he would not provoke her at all, just like the big bear girl Wang Zhirong. More than a month ago, at a seafood buffet restaurant, she also used a similar method as Liang Jingjing to force herself to K at XJ. Afterwards, Li Yuan did not do anything to her and was too lazy to pay attention to her. If you want to treat girls you don't like as girlfriends in this way, it is impossible. Now, it's not more than 10 years in the future, and female boxing has evolved to the T0 version. Now it hasn't even started to sprout. However, because of Qi Siyu, he himself did not suffer any loss. The two are good girlfriends, and Li Yuan does not want to directly draw a line between them like he did with Wang Zhirong. Li Yuan came to school with mixed thoughts. Sitting in the corner with Xiao's Haijin, holding her little hand, talking in a low voice. "Haijin, do you miss me?" Xiao's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan shyly and nodded her chin. "Yeah." Li Yuan smiled, "Come home with me at noon, my dad is back in Shanghai today, he also wants to see you." This morning, the villa in the hometown has been built, so there is no need for Father Li Hong to stay in the hometown. When Xiao's Haijin heard that Li Yuan was going to take her to see his father, a hint of shyness flashed across her flawless face, and she felt a little uneasy. "Li Yuan, should I prepare?" Li Yuan shook his head, "No need, my dad is easy to talk to, you just need to go." Oh, Xiao's Haijin smiled lightly. Li Yuan asked, "By the way, have you been to see your cousin Yanyan recently?" "Well, last weekend, I went to the University of Science and Technology to find my cousin. This week, she came to our school to see me several times." Xiao's Haijin smiled sweetly. Since getting rid of the entanglement of Yin Sheng and his son, Chu Yanyan has obviously come to Daxia University to see her more often. Li Yuan asked in surprise, "Sister Yanyan came to our school? Why didn't you tell me? As her boyfriend, I have to do my part as a host." Xiao's Haijin was worried that Li Yuan would be angry, so she explained in a low voice, "You have been busy recently, and my cousin didn't have anything important to do, so I didn't tell you." This time, she lied. In fact, she didn't tell Li Yuan that her cousin kept looking for her because Li Yuan was busy. But it was because Chu Yanyan didn't let her tell Li Yuan. After knowing that Li Yuan had several girlfriends, she had a bad impression of Li Yuan and didn't want to see him at all. Li Yuan didn't doubt that he was indeed very busy recently, mainly busy with the expansion plan of Chayan Use. Li Yuan suddenly remembered something and asked again, "Haijin, you can drive now, right? If the confession fails, chase her bestie." Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 454. In September, Li Yuan arranged for Xiao's Haijin to take the driver's license test. When the two were together, he often taught her how to drive. As a child who grew up in a mountainous area, Xiao's Haijin learned and accepted driving skills very quickly. After several systematic studies, you can basically drive with him. Once you learn to drive, you can quickly take the test and get your driver's license. Xiao's Haijin tapped her chin and said with some uncertainty, "It should be considered okay. I have already passed subjects 1 and 2, and I am just missing subject 3. Li Yuan smiled and said, "After school, I will practice driving with you again. When you get your driver's license, I will buy you a car. It will be much more convenient to go to Sister Yanyan later." Hearing that Li Yuan wanted to buy himself a car, Xiao's Haijin waved her hand quickly. "You don't have to waste money, it's very convenient to take a taxi." Li Yuan firmly grasped Xiao's Haijin's little hand, placed it in his own palm, and scratched it gently. "When it comes to buying a car, just listen to me. Xiaoyu and Xiaobai both have sports cars, so naturally you can't do without them." Xiao's Haijin opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but Li Yuan stopped her with his hand. If you have nothing to do these days, you can look at more cars and see which one you like. You can ask your roommate and cousin to help you reference it. Got it? By the way, you don't have to consider the price, just decide which car you like. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan and said obediently, yeah, I understand. At noon, Li Yuan took Xia's Haijin home to meet his parents. His father, Li Heng, had long known from Xia Qin that Li Yuan had several girlfriends and had seen photos of the three girls, so he was not too surprised. He just told Li Yuan to treat others well and not to let down Xia's Haijin and the others. Li Yuan naturally agreed. Apart from being busy with company affairs and spending time writing novels every day, he tried his best to accompany them and take them to experience various things with their boyfriends. Such as shopping, watching movies, attending concerts, visiting zoos, amusement parks, etc. They have everything other girls have, and they have everything other girls don't have. Night. Li Yuan accompanied Zhong Tingyu again and met Gu Langzhen, the cheap mother-in-law. Li Yuan still had a good impression of this cheap mother-in-law. If the other party hadn't assisted him many times, Zhong Tingyu wouldn't have forgiven him so quickly. On the dinner table, listening to Li Yuan and Zhong Tingyu discussing the decoration of the new Chayan Use store, Gu Langzhen asked curiously, Xiao Li, is this Chayan Use milk tea shop really opened by you and Xiao Yu? Li Yuan nodded with a smile and introduced, well, Xiao Yu and I opened it together. It has been open for more than a month. Xiao Yu is mainly responsible for the specific management, and I occasionally come up with ideas and directions. Auntie, you really gave birth to a good daughter. Little Moon is very talented in business. She made Tea Beauty and Moonlight crystal clear and vivid, and the results are very good. In the future, Little Moon may become a business tycoon. Listening to Li Yuan praising herself, Zhong Tingyu chuckled, her eyes turned into crescents, and she couldn't help but snicker. Mom, don't listen to Li Yuan's nonsense. I'm not as good as he said. It's all his credit that Tea Beauty and Moonlight can achieve this level. I'm just helping him with some chores. Listening to Zhong Tingyu's self-effacing words, Li Yuan immediately retorted with a smile, Little Moon, you chose the name of our milk tea shop, right? Yeah, Zhong Tingyu replied. Li Yuan added, product packaging, sales staff, product names, raw material purchase, etc., are you personally responsible for them, right? Zhong Tingyu listened to Li Yuan talking about his great achievements one by one, and the smile on his face became wider. Li Yuan joked, I just have an idea and some money. From now on, if our Tea Beauty and Moonlight can really be launched and become the #1 milk tea brand in China, it all depends on you. Zhong Tingyu smiled sweetly, blinked at Li Yuan with her beautiful eyes, and said with a smile, Senior, your ideals are so lofty. Moreover, you have such great expectations for me, what if you can't do it in the future? Li Yuan smiled slightly, be confident, you can do it, trust my vision. Zhong Tingyu snorted, I'm not that confident myself. Gu Langzhen looked at Li Yuan and her daughter arguing, and then put down the worry in her heart. At night, Jinxia Villa. Gu Langzhen took Zhong Tingyu's little hand and said one thing with a serious face. Little Moon, let me tell you something. Your dad seems to know that you are in love. After listening to Gu Langzhen's words, Zhong Tingyu's body trembled suddenly, and some bad memories flashed through her mind. After a while, she regained her composure and answered in a cold voice. He knows it, and can he really run to the magic city and take me back? Gu Langzhen sighed inwardly when she saw Zhong Tingyu's stubborn eyes and cold words. He grabbed Zhong Tingyu's little hand, put it in his palm, and comforted him, Little Moon, you don't have to worry too much. This is the magic city, and he doesn't dare to go too far. If he really goes too far, the worst case scenario is that we will break up with him. From now on, the two of us will stay in the Magic City and never return to Sioux City. Zhong Tingyu was slightly startled, staring at Gu Langzhen with complicated eyes. This was the first time that her mother was willing to stand by her side and support her. Zhong Tingyu called out softly, and a few crystal tears appeared in the corners of her eyes. Mom. Gu Langzhen saw that Zhong Tingyu was so moved that she was about to cry. She smiled and looked at Zhong Tingyu, speaking sincerely, speaking from her heart. Little Moon, in the past, we had to rely on your father, but now we don't need it anymore. Mom has the confidence to say these words. You were born after 10 months of pregnancy. If I don't feel sorry for you, who will I feel sorry for? How could I bear to watch you being pushed into the fire pit by your own father? Zhong Tingyu was moved to tears, hugged Gu Langzhen, and shouted with a choked voice, Mom. Gu Langzhen touched Zhong Tingyu's soft hair and smiled. Silly girl, don't cry, your face will look ugly if you cry. Well. Don't cry, Zhong Tingyu raised her head and nestled in her mother's arms. Gu Langzhen said again, by the way, Xiao Yueliang, Li Yuan said that this Jiayan Use milk tea shop was opened with you. Do you have a share in it? Zhong Tingyu asked in confusion, Mom, why do you ask that? Gu Langzhen's eyes showed a trace of embarrassment, and she laughed and explained, it's okay, I just asked casually. After Zhong Tingyu asked, she looked at her mother's expression and knew what she was thinking. As the mistress of her father, the man did not give her any other property except buying a house and a car in Sicheng for her mother and giving her some pocket money every month. Of course, the man himself did not have much property. From her current perspective, the Zhong family is not as powerful as she once imagined. After all, how could a truly powerful family need to sacrifice its daughter to do that kind of thing? Zhong Tingyu glanced at Gu Langzhen and explained. Mom, I own 10% of the shares in Jiayan Use. Li Yuan wanted to give me more, but I refused. Gu Langzhen asked puzzledly, why did you refuse? Isn't this a good thing? Zhong Tingyu shook her head, Mom, Li Yuan wanted to give me 40%, but I thought it was too much. Seemingly knowing that Gu Langzhen didn't understand, Zhong Tingyu asked again, Mom, do you know how much money Li Yuan invested in Jiayan Use? Gu Langzhen shook her head and asked tentatively, how many millions? Zhong Tingyu smiled, Mom, let me tell you this, just to buy the previous 10 stores, Li Yuan invested 10 million in cash, plus other supporting factories, raw materials, and employee salaries, about 13 million. Recently, Li Yuan invested about 30 million and expanded 30 new stores, including raw material processing workshops, etc. 10% of the funds invested by Li Yuan alone is already 4 to 5 million. And the current valuation of Jiayan Use has easily exceeded 100 million, and the daily turnover is at the million level. Mom, do you know what this means? Even though Gu Langzhen knew nothing about business, she realized that Li Yuan gave her daughter 10% of the shares, which was also a large number after listening to Zhong Tingyu's explanation. Zhong Tingyu spoke with confidence in her eyes, Mom, according to the current development speed of Jiayan Use, I am sure that within a year, Jiayan Use will become a company with a market value of more than 1 billion. Gu Langzhen was stunned, and was stunned by Zhong Tingyu's confident tone. With a market value of 1 billion, doesn't that mean, Xiao Yueliang, your net worth is at least hundreds of millions? Zhong Tingyu smiled and nodded. After more than 2 months of studying the milk tea market and running a milk tea shop, she has a hunch that the future milk tea market will become larger and more popular. According to the current trend, as long as the brand effect of Jiayan Use can be continuously improved, it is not impossible to make Jiayan Use the Starbucks of China. Haha, Xiao Yueliang, you are really great. I don't know how much money the old Zhong family in Sicheng has, but your father's net worth, all added together, will definitely not exceed 100 million. If the confession fails, Chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 455. Gu Langzhen spoke excitedly and laughed triumphantly, feeling happy for her precious daughter. According to what you said, Li Yuan is indeed very kind to you. He will give you shares worth tens of millions if he says so. Zhong Tingyu's eyes showed full of love. Well, he is indeed very good to me. Gu Langzhen smiled and said, in that case, I'm relieved. By the way, after a while, your father may come to the Magic City to find you. When the time comes, you should make a good face to your mother and let him see what a wonderful daughter I gave birth to. Hearing that Cheap's father was coming, Zhong Tingyu looked a little panicked. He's coming to see me. Gu Langzhen nodded. He didn't know where he heard that you seemed to be in love. He was worried and insisted on coming to see you in person. I stopped him and said that he would come to Magic City first to check the situation and give you a warning. Zhong Tingyu was moved and said, Mom, thank you. Gu Langzhen said with a smile, we too, why are you talking about this? Now that I see that everything is fine with you, I feel relieved. Zhong Tingyu said, Mom, please stay in the Magic City for a few more days this time. Gu Langzhen smiled and joked, if I live here every day, will it affect your date with Xiaoli? Zhong Tingyu blushed and said coquettishly, Mom, Li Yuan and I don't usually come here, so you can live here without worries. Gu Langzhen asked in surprise, you're not here? Then where are you going? Zhong Tingyu replied with a blushing face, well, he has other houses. In the next few days, Li Yuan took Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi to meet his father. Since they are all my girlfriends, they naturally want to make things right overnight and see them all. Time is long. In the busyness, half a month passed in the blink of an eye, and it was mid to late December. The newly expanded 30 stores have all been renovated and the recruitment of personnel has been officially in place. The total revenue for the first month of Tea Beauty and Moonlight has finally been released. It has to be said that the milk tea industry is indeed a hugely profitable industry, especially after adding brand effects, thanks to Li Yuan's reputation and the crazy support of those fans. The total revenue of the 10 stores of Chayan USE in the first month reached an astonishing more than 30 million yuan. Even after deducting various raw materials, labor, and other costs, the net profit was more than 20 million yuan. In just 1 month, the total investment cost of 10 milk tea shops was earned, which was more than enough. Such a number makes Li Yuan himself a little frightened, let alone Zhong Tingyu, Bai Wuxi, and Su Yunting. I can only sigh secretly, it's really scary for fans to chase stars. Chapter 262 Monthly Summary Report, Milk Tea Sister Activity starts. The main reason why the milk tea shop of Chayan USE was able to achieve such high sales in the first month of its opening was the strong support of Li Yuan's fans. Otherwise, no matter how delicious Li Yuan makes the milk tea, no matter how good the environment is, and no matter how many advertisements he puts in it, it will still be far from achieving such a terrifying effect that can even be described as unbelievable. December 23, 2008. Longjiao Building. The newly renovated conference room of the main store of Tea Beauty and Moonlight was filled with people, more than 150 people in total, who were conducting a monthly summary report since the opening. The area of this office building reaches more than 3,000 square meters. It is on the upper and lower floors with the floor where Datang Technology is located. The total price is about 40 million. Li Yuan spent a down payment of 10 million to buy this floor as the setting for Tea Beauty and Moonlight headquarters. With the rapid development of the Chayan USE milk tea shop, it will definitely expand rapidly in the future. The original main store was only 300 square meters, which was too small for office use. Li Yuan discussed with Zhong Tingyu, Bai Wuxi, Su Yunting, and others and bought this office building. Zhong Tingyu was standing on the stage, using PPT to explain the data of each product of Tea Beauty and Moonlight this month, as well as some issues reported by customers. I just talked about the revenue of our Tea Beauty and Moonlight in the first month. Now let me talk about the specific products that are the most popular among customers. According to our backend statistics, the milk tea with the highest sales volume this month is Taro Mashed Taro Milk Tea, followed by Yangtze Manna. While we have achieved impressive results, we must not be complacent. We should also see some of the problems we still have. This is the feedback we got when we conducted a questionnaire on customers last week. The most common problem reported by customers is that there are too many people in line and the waiting time is too long. Secondly, because of the large number of people, the service has not fully kept up. The third problem reported is that some prizes won in the lottery are shipped faster. Slow. In general, since the official opening of Tea Beauty and Moonlight, under the leadership and guidance of Mr. Lee and with the joint efforts of everyone, we have achieved a good start. Next, we welcome Mr. Lee with warm applause and tell us a few words. As soon as Zhong Tingyu finished speaking, more than 100 Tea Face and Moonlight clerks in the audience immediately burst into roaring applause. Regardless of men or women, all eyes were turned to Li Yuan. As an employee of Tea Beauty and Moonlight, I have naturally studied and understood the experience of this legendary figure Li Yuan more or less. The more you understand, the more shocked you will be. This is a truly talented man. At the age of only 18 or 19, he has already made such a big career in Shanghai. The youngest and highest paid writer in the field of online literature, a musical genius renowned in the music world, the founder of Zhihu.com, which is valued at 1 billion, and the owner of Tea Color Moonlight. He has a very big reputation in Shanghai and even in the whole country. He is even known as the youngest billionaire in the country, with a total net worth of over 100 million. In addition to various titles, the most widely circulated is naturally Li Yuan's romantic affairs. He talked about several girlfriends at the same time, which aroused the envy and jealousy of all men. It's not that no one wants to attack Li Yuan with lifestyle issues. However, they all returned in vain. First, Li Yuan is not married, and there is no violation of the law. Second, when Li Yuan encounters someone who spreads rumors, he really dares to spend money to sue. Anyway, he has plenty of money. If he finds someone making unwarranted rumors or maliciously slandering him, he will randomly select a lucky person and send a lawyer's letter. Even if he cannot use legal sanctions, he can still disgust you to death. Amid the cheers and attention of the audience, Li Yuan wore an Armani suit that Zhong Tingyu helped to select, and a Vacheron Constantine watch worth hundreds of thousands of yuan on his hand. He came to the podium amid the warm applause of the audience. Looking at the more than 100 young faces in the audience, 40 to 50 of them were the first batch of recruited employees. It was their hard work that made Chayan USE achieve such results in the first month. There are also hundreds of newly recruited employees who have just completed their induction training and will go to work in the 30 newly opened milk tea shops tomorrow. Li Yuan smiled, stretched out his right hand, and pressed it down. The thunderous applause at the scene suddenly became silent, and everyone was looking forward to Li Yuan's speech. After rebirth, Li Yuan has experienced many big scenes. At this time, he just felt a little calm and spoke slowly. Just now, President Su and President Zhong said everything they should say. They said it very well, covering everything and being meticulous. I propose that everyone applaud again with warm applause for everyone present. After Li Yuan finished speaking, he took the lead in applauding. More than 100 people in the audience also applauded. Li Yuan glanced at the many young men and women in the audience. Because the recruitment requirements are relatively high, they are basically all handsome men and beautiful women. Although they are not at the level of class beauties, they are also considered to be of medium quality, mainly because they are all tall. Some of the prettier girls can also be as good looking as Wang Zhirong and Xiang Qin Yang Kaiu. You get what you pay for. When people pay attention to body shape and appearance, the education level is naturally very random. As long as they have graduated from junior high school and can endure hardships, it will be fine. In this service industry, a high education level is not required, except for some product design positions. I won't say much. I am not a boss who likes to preach. I have seen and remembered everyone's hard work in the past month. Most of the time, your working hours have exceeded 12 hours. Listening to what Li Yuan said, all the old employees brightened their eyes, and suddenly had a little more expectation in their hearts. They all attach great importance to Li Yuan's words, because Li Yuan never draws big cakes, but always keeps his word. Just like on the first day of opening, Li Yuan announced that he would reward everyone with 500 yuan in cash, and the next day it was implemented and the money was distributed to everyone. Now, Li Yuan said this, is it? Everyone was eagerly waiting, even Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi were confused, they didn't know what Li Yuan would do beforehand. Li Yuan felt hundreds of expectant eyes on him, smiled slightly, and said the reward plan directly without keeping anyone in suspense. It seems that everyone is looking forward to it and can guess what I want to say, so I won't keep anyone in suspense. I announce that all the first batch of employees will receive a one-time reward of 2,000 yuan on top of their original basic salary and various rewards. Tell me loudly, are you happy? Hearing that Li Yuan wanted to reward everyone with 2,000 yuan again, the scene suddenly became boiling. All the old employees shouted excitedly, and the shouts of happy shook the sky, and even upstairs and downstairs, cheers could be heard. At the same time, there were many young men and women who were excitedly counting on their fingers, calculating how much money they could get this month. I just calculated that my basic salary is 5,000 yuan per month this month. I have received 6 bonuses of 500 yuan each time. With this bonus of 2,000 yuan, I can get 10,000 yuan this month, 10,000 yuan a month. When I worked at KFC before, I only made 2,800 yuan a month. It has quadrupled. Mr. Li is really generous. Long live Mr. Li. Mr. Li, I love you. Hee. I didn't finish junior high school and came to Shanghai to work. I worked as a waiter in a restaurant before. I worked very hard every day and only made more than 3,000 yuan a month. I also got 10,000 yuan this month. Mr. Li is not only handsome, but also really generous. Our current salary is basically the highest in the service industry in Shanghai, right? Even if it is not the highest, it is almost one of the highest. Moreover, have you ever thought about a problem? This is only our first month at work. Strictly speaking, we are all in the probation period. It is normal to get 1 or 2,000 yuan a month. We have nothing to say. The contract was signed that way. However, the tall, handsome, talented and wealthy Mr. Li directly made me a regular employee and rewarded me with so much money. He is really the best boss in the world. I love him. Of course, Mr. Li is my favorite Xiahua male god. In order to see him often, I resigned from my previous company and came to Xiahua male god's company. I was just chasing stars. I didn't expect that I would get a blessing in disguise and enter such a good company. I really made a lot of money. What does a 2,000 yuan cash reward mean? In 2008, when the average salary was only about 2,000 yuan, 2,000 yuan was already the living expenses of most college students for 3 or 4 months. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 456. Can they be unhappy? With their academic qualifications, unless they put aside their self-esteem and face and engage in special service industries, it is simply a dream to earn such a high salary. Although this kind of service work is a bit tiring, it does not have any technical content. As long as you study a little and understand a little, you can get started quickly. More than 100 other newly hired young employees were filled with envy when they heard that the old employees who came only 1 month earlier than them had received so many rewards, and their hearts were filled with expectations for the future. They also want so much money. At the front of the stage, Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi sat together, listening to Li Yuan directly throw away money and give generous rewards. The two girls looked at each other and couldn't help but smile knowingly. Li Yuan may have various problems, such as being flirtatious. However, there is one thing that no one can refute. That is, Li Yuan is extremely generous to his girlfriend, parents, relatives, and company employees. They are not like the legendary black-hearted capitalists who only know how to squeeze out the surplus value of employees. Treat the employees under your control like cattle and horses. You want the horses to run but don't give them grass to eat. Li Yuan watched the discussion in the audience getting more and more intense. He had good hearing and listened to many employees praising him. His face did not turn red and his heart did not beat. He calmly enjoyed their cheers. Whether it is Datang Technology or T-Beauty and Moonlight, he treats all his employees very well. As long as you have a work attitude and work ability, it is indispensable when it comes to money. As a migrant worker for many years, he will not paint the pie for nothing. Everyone is here to make money. Being able to make money is the best response to the employees, and everything else is empty. After a while, Li Yuan coughed and waved his hand to signal everyone to quiet down. This time the reward of 2,000 yuan per person will be distributed to everyone within 2 days, so please rest assured. Li Yuan said and made a self-deprecating joke. Unless I go bankrupt one day and can't even eat, then I can break my promise. After all, you can't really drink the northwest wind, right? Everyone in the audience couldn't help laughing when they heard Li Yuan's self-mockery. Okay, without further ado, now that we've talked about the rewards, let's talk about what we will do in the next month. Hearing Li Yuan's serious expression, everyone in the audience immediately fell silent and pricked up their ears to listen to Li Yuan's arrangements. Everyone knows that our positioning and slogan of Chayan USE is to use the highest quality service to serve the best looking you. I hope that in the next time, everyone will continue to carry forward the spirit of hard work and further improve service quality will be optimized and corrected based on some issues raised by customer feedback previously raised by Mr. Zhong. Especially for the 30 newly added stores. You have just joined the company. You must actively learn and establish a sense of optimal service. You must not damage our newly erected signboard of Chayan USE. We must keep in mind that service quality, environmental sanitation, and product reputation are the most important things for us in the catering service industry. Finally, I will announce another decision. Every month, we will determine the milk tea pace setters based on operating income, customer feedback, performance growth trends, and other factors. The top 3 stores each time, and the clerks among them, you can get big cash rewards. Li Yuan paused, listened to the discussion below, and said with a smile, since I said it is a large bonus, how big it is, everyone can use their imagination. Okay, that's all I'll say. Let's call it a day. After the first month summary report meeting of T-Beauty and Moonlight /. The next day, the day before Christmas in 2008, at 8 a.m., the opening ceremony of the newly expanded 30 stores was held. At the same time, on the opening day, the national audition event for Milk Tea Sister also officially started. Publicity and promotion began on various channels such as Zhihu.com. Due to Li Yuan's huge influence, there are also a large number of online trolls leading the rhythm, and the most important bonus, it has brought huge attraction. The Milk Tea Sister ranked first in the country and received a prize of up to 1 million, which immediately detonated the entire internet. In an instant, the Milk Tea Sister selection event was widely spread on major campus websites, forums, and post bars. Those confident college beauties, school beauties from major schools, factory beauties from major factories, and urban white-collar workers, all started to post selfies holding milk tea under the temptation of huge bonuses. If you want to enter the final voting, you must use the milk tea of Chayan USE and obtain an exclusive voting number before you can vote on the Zhida column. For a time, the entire internet was full of voices about the selection of milk tea sisters. Photos of beauties holding milk tea were eye-opening and feasting for netizens across the country. What followed was naturally an explosive growth in sales of Tea Face and Moonlight. There are long queues in front of every store, including the 30 newly opened stores. As the richest place in the country, people living in the Magic City are not short of money at all, especially little luxury brands like Chayan USE, which have become a kind of fashion to follow. 3 days later, Li Yuan, Zhong Tingyu, Bai Wuxi, and Su Yunting were all delighted when they saw the sales figures of 40 stores. Su Yunting was already amazed by Li Yuan's various methods and was full of admiration. He looked at Li Yuan with admiration and said with a surge of emotion, "Mr. Li, the milk tea sister selection activity you came up with is so effective. All our 40 stores are booming." On December 24, the total turnover of the 40 stores reached an astonishing 4 million, and the average turnover of each store reached 100,000 yuan. On December 25, Christmas Day, sales reached 5 million. On December 26, there were also 4.5 million. Listening to Su Yunting's report, Li Yuan nodded with satisfaction. This effect is even more exaggerated than he imagined, and it is surprisingly good. He originally thought that because of the opening of 30 new stores, it would lead to diversion and a sharp drop in single-store sales. Unexpectedly, the sales of a single store still could not maintain the same level as before, and this data was a bit exaggerated. Those milk tea sisters who dared to take selfies were basically all kinds of flowers, such as class flowers, department flowers, school flowers, factory flowers, and store flowers. Their pursuers, for various reasons, often spend a lot of money very generously, just to improve the ranking of the goddess in their hearts. If it were in the future, Li Yuan's business behavior would have a special term that could be used to explain it. That is licking dog economy. In essence, whether it is the first cup of milk tea in autumn, milk tea sister selection activities, or the subsequent Double 11 and 520, etc., they are all a kind of licking dog economy. Although the licking dog economy sounds bad, it can indeed bring huge commercial profits. In this era when the licking dog economy has just begun to awaken, if you don't take the initiative to share this pie, others will eat it. Li Yuan had never thought of stopping this phenomenon by himself. Since you can't beat them, then join them. Li Yuan continued to explain, this milk tea sister selection event will last for a week. During this time, I will do my best to promote it. However, your service must also keep up. By the way, any form of favoritism and fraud must be strictly eliminated. Li Yuan said to Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi in the audience, Mr. Zhong, Mr. Bai, Mr. Su, you all pay attention. Once you find any employee doing this, report it to me immediately. It must be dealt with strictly, severely, and quickly, and severely punished without mercy. Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi looked at each other and nodded. Thanks to the handsome guy Yun Fengqing for the 500 points. Chapter 263, An old friend in the imperial capital, Xiao Yuer's thoughts, asking for monthly tickets. So far, Chayan USE has developed to 40 stores, as well as a national headquarters, factories, R/U00260 workshops, etc. The total number of employees has reached nearly 200, which is no longer a small enterprise. It can be foreseen that as long as there is no Waterloo-style failure, the rise of Chayan USE is inevitable. In a short period of time, it will definitely expand rapidly to the surrounding big cities and occupy the high-end catering market. As a formal company, Zhong Tingyu's current position is not only the boss lady, but also the general manager and creative director, mainly responsible for various affairs of Chayan USE. And Bai Wuxi, after seeking her opinion, is now responsible for the financial work of Chayan USE and serves as the financial director. Of course, the main task of the two of them now is still to study, so many jobs are done by their employees. After celebrating the success of Milk Tea Sister, Li Yuan took Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi on his left and right and returned to Building 16 of Galaxy Bay Villa. The three of them sat on the sofa in the living room and chatted. Zhong Tingyu was holding a laptop, opening the column about the Milk Tea Sister selection activity on Zhihu.com, looking at the selfies of various poses, and smiled at Li Yuan and joked. "Senior, I just looked at the column of Zhihu.com. There are many very beautiful beauties in the Milk Tea Sister selection. Do you want to have a hidden rule? Senior, look, this one is called Zhang Xiaotian, this one is called Lu Shishi, and this one is called Jin Chen Chen, and this one is called Dili Riba, they are all very beautiful." Li Yuan was about to refute and say that he was not interested. But when he heard the very familiar names behind, his heart suddenly jumped. He thought, it can't be such a coincidence, these future stars have participated in the Milk Tea Sister selection activity. Is the influence of the Milk Tea Sister selection event so great? Li Yuan was very confused, and suddenly he had a little more expectation in his heart. Seeing Li Yuan's expectant expression, Zhong Tingyu chuckled, opened the Milk Tea Sister selection page, and handed the laptop to Li Yuan generously, joking. Yo, senior, it seems that you are really interested, see which one you like." Li Yuan smiled, took the computer, and explained seriously, "This is an event held by our company, how can I not be interested? I must have first-hand information. If the confession fails, chase her bestie." Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 457. Li Yuan moved the mouse and looked at the self-portraits one by one. Among the many pictures, he found the ones that Zhong Tingyu mentioned. At this time, they were all very young and immature. They might have just entered the entertainment industry and were not as famous as they were later. Li Yuan took a look and was no longer interested. He had seen the photos and videos of these female stars too many times. If they were in person, he might be a little interested. Li Yuan laughed at Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi, who were staring at him with strange expressions. "They look okay, but they are still far behind you too. In my heart, you are the most beautiful." Li Yuan was telling the truth. If it were in the eyes of others, they might be the same, with similar looks. But in Li Yuan's eyes, with the existence of filters, Bai Wuxi, Zhong Tingyu, Xiao's Haijin, and Zhang Zai really felt much more beautiful than these female stars. Moreover, not all female stars are top beauties. The real top beauties have been taken into the rooms of various rich second generations, big bosses, and dignitaries. Female stars are mainly famous, which will stimulate men's desire to conquer them. It's like the idol in your heart, the unattainable goddess in your heart, the mentality that I can stand up and kick hard, and play very extravagantly. From ancient times to the present, men have this common problem. From the ancient courtesans to today's female stars, there is not much difference in essence. Those who understand the entertainment industry will understand. Besides, if we just talk about appearance, there are too many women who are younger and more beautiful than those female stars all over the country, but they are not famous and do not have many talents. Bai Wuxi rolled her eyes at Li Yuan and snorted, "Brother, you can lie to us as much as you want. You can't take your eyes off the photos." Zhong Tingyu also smiled and joked meaningfully, "Senior is really greedy. He is not satisfied with us sisters." Bai Wuxi pursed her lips and smiled secretly, joking, "That's right, he, Tingyu, why don't we take a photo holding milk tea in our hands and participate in the Milk Tea Sister selection?" Zhong Tingyu glanced at Li Yuan, stroked her hair, and raised the corners of her mouth slightly. "I'm afraid that someone will be jealous of us because we are too popular." "Right, a certain philandering senior?" Li Yuan's mouth twitched, and he felt very strange watching Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi singing the same tune. When the news of him having multiple affairs broke out, the two of them were still mortal enemies and would never have anything to do with each other. He had contacted people and was ready to change Zhong Tingyu's dormitory. But now, as Bai Wuxi has been staying with Zhong Tingyu recently to deal with various matters of Chayan Use, and often living in the same villa, and they have seen each other openly, they have gradually relaxed. The relationship is far less tense than before, and now it is more like good girlfriends and good sisters in the previous life. It's just that this pair of good girlfriends now have the same boyfriend. Li Yuan stretched out his hand to support his chin, and smiled playfully at the two beautiful women in front of him. Hey, I've been very angry recently, and I need to calm down. When Bai Wuxi heard Li Yuan's pointed words, her fair face was tinged with a blush. She blinked at Zhong Tingyu and chuckled. Tingyu, since brother is so angry, let's calm him down now. Okay. Okay, Zhong Tingyu also smiled and nodded her chin, staring at Li Yuan in a charming way, took the initiative to hug Li Yuan's arm, and joked. Senior, stop looking at the computer, what position do you want to experience? Wuxi and I will satisfy you. Listening to Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi's wolf-like words and the eyes that wanted to swallow him, Li Yuan suddenly shuddered and his adrenaline surged rapidly. Li Yuan didn't expect that Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi would be so jealous. I just looked at a few beauties. These milk tea sisters are all his cash cows. The higher the quality of the milk tea sisters, the greater their influence, and the higher the economic benefits they bring. However, Li Yuan is not the type to sit and wait, he likes to spur the horse and whip and go straight in with the spear. Especially when facing Bai Wuxi and Zhong Tingyu, one is the white moonlight that he once loved but could not get, and the other is the perfect goddess in his mind. If he can fight one against two, and let them both fight together, it would be too exciting and challenging. Li Yuan touched his chin, looked at the two beautiful women, and said with a smile. Xiaobai, Xiao Yueliang, it's not that I look down on your fighting power. As he said, he hooked his fingers at the two girls and said provocatively, you two can come together, what should I be afraid of? Hurry up and let's fight for 300 rounds, and try whether my spear is hard and sharp. Being looked down upon by Li Yuan, Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi were both very angry. They looked at each other and simultaneously attacked Li Yuan. Senior, tonight, I will show you how powerful we sisters are. Brother, you are not allowed to surrender tonight. Whoever gives up is a puppy. Li Yuan's eyes lit up. Instead of being scared by their words, he was full of expectations. Could it be that tonight I can really experience double happiness again? Hee, I'm afraid you two are not my opponents. You know how powerful I am. Ah, being invincible is really lonely. The next day. Daxia University, Comprehensive Administration Building, Entrepreneurship Office. Chi-Siyu was browsing Jihu.com and looked at the Milk Tea Sisters selection column on the internet. One of the Milk Tea Sisters was so beautiful that she couldn't help but pout. Well, I always feel that he might be doing this activity because he wants to find some more beautiful women, just like the ancient emperors who held auditions across the country. How can we keep this carefree man's heart? Chi-Siyu muttered to himself, feeling helpless. After what happened that night, Li Yuan never went to her neighborhood again. In the past half-month, he even saw her very rarely. The only few times they were in Li Yuan's car secretly, Li Yuan seemed to be deliberately avoiding Liang Jingjing. Perhaps, I really did something wrong in that matter? Shouldn't I agree to do such ridiculous things quietly? But, he was obviously very excited that night. Chi-Siyu couldn't understand Li Yuan's mentality, and felt a little regretful in her heart. Originally, I finally got together with Li Yuan, but because of that incident, there suddenly became some distance between the two people. No, I have to find a way to save him. If this continues, when more and more beauties appear around him, will he still remember me? Chi Siyu thought hard about how to find a way to win back Li Yuan. At this time, the imperial capital thousands of miles away was the true largest city in China. Imperial capital Normal University, in a double dormitory. There are two shallow dimples on a flawless face, skin as white as snow, and clear eyes that seem to penetrate people's hearts. Her soft long hair was scattered freely, floating gently in the air, gently surrounding her graceful figure. This young girl, who has the appearance of a school belle, is browsing a hot search message on Zhihu.com. The business myth created by Li Yuan, a young genius who is only 19 years old. In the post, he introduced in detail the various deeds Li Yuan has done since he entered university. He writes on Yuandian Chinese website, founded Zhihu.com, established the milk tea catering brand Chayan Use, the music created by Li Yuan himself and with several girlfriends, and even some of Li Yuan's actions in the stock market. All were briefly mentioned. Zhihu.com, milk tea shop, stocks, music, writing. Brother Zaiwa, you really gave me a lot of surprises. After I left, you are still so dazzling. Zhang Ziyu murmured to himself, a look of deep longing flashed in his eyes. Looking at the photos with Li Yuan in the QQ space, I don't know when, these beautiful star-like eyes overflowed with crystal tears, slowly sliding down their faces. Zhang Ziyu murmured to himself. Brother Xiahua, do you still remember Xiao Yu or now? Do you also know that there is an ignorant little fish in the far north, secretly missing you? In my mind, I thought about the scenes with Li Yuan. She originally thought that when she met the person she was destined to be, she would have a sweet love, and everything would develop in that direction, but reality gave her a brutal blow. Suddenly, the dormitory door was pushed open, and a tall girl with a guitar on her back and burgundy hair walked in. Jianzhang Juyu was browsing Zhihu.com and curiously joked. Jiayu, do you also like to visit Zhihu? Zhang Ziyu glanced at his new roommate at Imperial Normal University, smiled slightly and replied, no, I just check it out occasionally. Zhou Tan suddenly patted his head and said with a smile, by the way, I saw you looking at Zhihu.com and I remembered something. Zhihu.com is holding a Milk Tea Sisters selection event, and the first place the prize money is as high as 1 million, which is said to be very popular. Jiayu, with your looks and figure, if you also sign up to participate, you will definitely win the championship. Hee, do you want to give it a try? Not interested, Zhang Ziyu shook his head. She finally mustered up the courage to come to the imperial capital from the magical capital thousands of miles away, and disappeared in front of Li Yuan. How could she take the initiative to attend an event held by his company? Zhou Tan curled his lips and said, ah, that's such a pity. With your conditions as a young fish, if you participate in the selection, it will be easy to win. Your image and temperament are really great. Haha, you just have a cold temperament. Hee, Juyu, do you want to know what some boys in our school say about you behind your back? Zhang Ziyu shook his head, not interested. Zhou Tan was used to Zhang Ziyu's aloof personality, so he pursed his lips and chuckled and joked. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 458. Geese, 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 they all say you are as cold as an iceberg, and as dazzling as a rose, and they even gave you a nickname, called Iceberg Beauty, ha ha ha. Zhang Ziyu heard her roommate's joke, chuckled, and felt a dull pain in her heart. She used to be a lively, cheerful, and optimistic girl. However, even if she gave up her previous friends and integrated into a brand new environment, she could no longer find that relaxed and happy feeling. Zhang Ziyu looked at Zhihu.com with a dim gaze, the man who brought her a lot of laughter and joy, but also brought her a lot of unforgettable heartache. Is he doing well? Has he ever thought about himself? Does he still remember? In the distant imperial capital, there is a girl named Xiao Yu who thinks of you every day, every night, every moment. Zhou Qin thought of something, and looked at the beautiful elf-like roommate in front of him, and asked. Xiao, in a few days, it will be our imperial capital Normal University's New Year's Eve party, are you really not going to perform on stage? Zhang Xiao shook her head. Zhou Qin saw that Zhang Xiao still refused firmly as usual, and sighed with regret. Oh, that's a pity, this is such a good opportunity to show yourself, others have tried every means to get it, but you actually ignored it. Also, the song Anhe Bridge you sang in the dormitory before, if you perform it on stage at the New Year's Eve party, it will definitely become popular. That song sounds really good. Listening to the roommate talking about Anhe Bridge / Zhang Xiao's thoughts seemed to take off suddenly. Crossing endless mountains, rivers, and seas, and crossing thousands of miles, we came to the playground of Jida University in the distant Magic City. There, a boy was singing the song Anhe Bridge to a girl affectionately. But now, things have changed. I am in the far north, and you are at the edge of the sea. It's only a few hours away by car, but it seems as far away as the endless starry sky. Will we meet again in this life? Chapter 264 Tickets that were snatched up like crazy, asking for monthly tickets. Li Yuan didn't know that. In the distant imperial capital, in a university dormitory, there was a girl who was secretly sad and crying for him every day, from a lively, cheerful, and quirky girl to an iceberg beauty. That girl, the flying catkins in her heart, crossed the mountains and seas, hovered over the magic city, and secretly watched him. In the past 2 weeks, he has been paying attention to the popularity of Milk Tea Sister and the daily sales of Chayan Use every day. I have to say that watching many customers line up in front of the milk tea shops in Chayan Use every day, waiting to buy milk tea, a lot of cash flows in. It can really be described as making a fortune every day. This feeling of making money in business is much more advanced than the feeling of making money in the stock market. Making money in the stock market is more like playing a virtual game, and the money in the account is just a string of flashing numbers. But offline, when cash piles up, this is a huge number. After the Milk Tea Sister selection activity started, a total of 40 milk tea shops, the daily turnover basically exceeded 4 million yuan. This is a very exaggerated number. If it can last for a month, the monthly revenue can reach 100 million, and the annual revenue can exceed 1 billion. This abnormally exaggerated sales data is obviously abnormal and cannot be sustained for a long time. The fundamental reason is still because of the popularity brought by the Milk Tea Sister selection and the influence of fans brought by Li Yuan himself. Once the popularity is over and consumption returns to a rational state, sales will definitely drop sharply. What Li Yuan is considering is how to maintain this popularity for as long as possible, so that the Chayan Use brand can really gain a foothold in the field of high-end catering. Once the brand is established, money will flow in continuously like it will multiply. As time passes quietly, the influence of the Milk Tea Sister selection activity is getting bigger and bigger. The top 30 Milk Tea Sisters who entered the finals are basically the school beauties of major schools in Shanghai, which also brought a lot of discussion. Especially on Zhihu.com, the base camp of the Milk Tea Sister selection, there are a lot of comments and discussions. There are still 3 days before the Milk Tea Sister selection activity ends, and the data of the top 3 are very close. Damn, the Milk Tea Sister Zhang Xiaotian supported by my buddies has dropped to the 10th place. Are they blind? Vote for my goddess quickly. Among the top 10 Milk Tea Sisters, our Shanghai only has 7, I really want to know where the other people, one from Suzhou, one from the capital, and one from Hangzhou, bought the Chayan Use milk tea to support these people. There must be something shady here. Hee, the above, if you don't understand, don't talk nonsense, it's embarrassing you fake fans. Don't you know that the Chayan Use milk tea shop has opened an online reservation activity? you can directly reserve from the official website of Chayan USE to support your own milk tea sister. Well, as a melon eater, let me interject, I feel a little strange. Why is an event held by a milk tea shop arousing such a high degree of enthusiasm? It feels like the whole internet is discussing it. This is very unreasonable. Dear brothers and sisters, can anyone tell me the reason? The question above is very simple. You will understand it as long as you carefully understand the Milk Tea Sister National Selection event. Let me talk about it briefly. There are three main reasons. The first reason is that the prize money for this Milk Tea Sister Selection event is very high. The first place will receive a bonus of 1 million, the second place will receive a bonus of 600,000, the third place will receive a bonus of 300,000, the 4th to 10th place will receive a bonus of 100,000 each, and the 11th to 100th place will receive a bonus of 10,000 each. Such a high bonus, as long as if you can enter the top 100, you can get at least 10,000 yuan, as the saying goes. There must be a brave man under a heavy reward, and the same is true for women. Sister upstairs, if you are very beautiful, would you want to try it? Now that you have tried it, will you mobilize your classmates, relatives, friends, and suitors to vote for you? Isn't this the influence of national participation? The second reason is the influence brought by Li Yuan himself. I won't say much about Li Yuan's introduction. A quick search on the internet will tell you that he is a young genius with exaggerated talents. He is tall and handsome. He has an exaggerated number of female fans and a huge spending power. Just imagine. Moreover, you can also get lucky draw opportunities by participating in the voting. I heard that at the awards ceremony after the Milk Tea Sisters selection event, Li Yuan will sing with all his heart. This is another form of concert, and the chance to get tickets can only be obtained from the lottery. Those fans have how crazy, I shouldn't need to say more, right? The third reason is that during this selection event, many budding female stars in the film, television, and music industries have also taken advantage of the popularity and posted photos of themselves holding milk tea to promote it online. The reasons mentioned above make sense. Li Yuan is really generous and worthy of being known as the youngest billionaire in the country. The prize money for this event alone is as high as 3.5 million, and I can buy 3 houses in Shanghai. It is really inhumane. It's a pity that I have a male body. 2 pieces of flesh are missing from my chest, and there is an extra piece of meat below. Mad, I almost want to go to Thailand to have a body transformation surgery. In the female dormitory of Shanghai University of Technology, Chu Yanyan has been very troubled recently. She was secretly photographed while drinking a cup of Chayan USE milk tea given to her by Xia's Haijin. Then the photo of drinking milk tea was posted online as a contestant in the Milk Tea Sister competition. In an instant, he gained the support of many hungry wolves from the Magic University of Technology, and his ranking kept rising, and now he is almost in the top 3. Zhang Xiaolan joked, "Yanyan, why do you look so sad? Isn't this a good thing? You might be able to get into the top 3. Gee, there's a bonus of 300,000 yuan. I'm so envious." Sun Junjun quickly nodded in agreement. Yes, Yanyan, you are now in charge of the beauty of our Polytechnic University. After this Milk Tea Sisters selection event, who can say that you are not a recognized school beauty? She and I are anxious. Zhang Xiaolan smiled again and said, I have to say that the person who took the photo of Yanyan was very skilled. He completely captured our Yanyan's appearance, as well as the sycamore leaves falling in the sunset. It's a very picturesque scene. I think even if Yanyan doesn't make it into the top 3, the top 10 is basically guaranteed, and she can get a bonus of 100,000. Yanyan is a big star in our school now, and there are long queues of boys giving gifts and confessing their love every day. I also heard that someone has organized to canvass votes for Yanyan on our school's forum. Chu Yanyan helplessly rolled her eyes at her roommates, feeling a little annoyed. After Yin Sheng was taken away, she finally seemed to have broken free from the shackles and was free for a few days. But as she was forced to participate in the Milk Tea Sisters selection event, Her fame instantly increased. As if overnight, she became the recognized beauty of the school. After becoming famous, it also brought a lot of troubles, although there was no harassment from boys like Yin Sheng. But the number of boys who wrote her love letters and sent flowers to express their love to her every day suddenly increased, which annoyed her greatly. Chu Yanyan sighed helplessly, "Oh, I don't want this kind of fame." Zhang Ziulan browsed various milk tea girls on the website and suddenly asked curiously, "Hey, Yanyan, why doesn't your beautiful cousin appear online?" Sun Junjun also asked curiously, "Yes, your cousin is so good looking. If she participates in the selection, she will definitely win the first place." Several girls unanimously highly agreed with Xia's Haijin's appearance, which gave her a particularly pure and innocent feeling. He obviously has a face that will make people admire him, but his words and deeds are a bit timid and waxy, making people fall in love and full of protectiveness. Just like a lotus that emerges from the mud but remains unstained. Listening to the doubts of several roommates, Chu Yanyan smiled slightly. She knew the reason well. It must be Li Yuan's behind-the-scenes operation. Because, that day, I was with Xia's Haijin, and it was impossible for the person who took the secret photos to only take pictures of myself and not my cousin. It must have been uploaded to the internet, but it was not selected by Zhihu.com. In addition, Li Yuan's other girlfriends did not appear in the Milk Tea Sisters selection event, which explains some things, and the reason is obvious. Chu Yanyan muttered to herself, "Huh, Li Yuan, this scumbag, knows how to take care of his girlfriend, but he puts me on the fire. Should I call him and ask him to remove my ranking?" Zhang Ziulan browsed the column content, and suddenly, she shouted in surprise. "Yanyan, Junjun, there is new news." Just now, the official website of Chayan USE announced new news. On January 4 on Sunday, the award ceremony for the Milk Tea Sisters selection event will be held. The top 100 Milk Tea Sisters will be invited to participate. Each winner can bring 2 relatives and friends to participate. In addition, the official Chayan USE also announced that Li Yuan will attend the event and sing songs for fans on the spot. Tickets will be available for purchase at 12 noon tomorrow. The number is limited and first come first served. After Zhang Ziulan finished speaking, she stared at Chu Yanyan excitedly with expectant eyes. "Yanyan, you will definitely go to the scene to receive the award, right? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie." Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 459. Sun Junjun's eyes were also full of expectation, and the words "take me there" were clearly engraved on his face. Seeing the expectant eyes of her 2 roommates, Chu Yanyan wanted to refuse, but she couldn't say the words of refusal. If what Zhang Ziulan said is true, it is obvious how precious tickets for this kind of concert-like award ceremony are. After all, this is the first solo concert held by Li Yuan, one of the most talented musical geniuses in the Chinese music scene. Those crazy female fans of Li Yuan will probably buy it like crazy, right? It will definitely be hard to get a vote. Chu Yanyan opened her mouth and hesitated for a long time, but with the encouragement of her 2 roommates, she finally nodded her chin. Zhang Ziulan was overjoyed and quickly stood up, hugged Chu Yanyan, put her head together, and wanted to kiss Chu Yanyan on the face. "Hee, Yanyan, you are so good, Mua, let me kiss you." The award ceremony is also Li Yuan's concert. I'm really looking forward to it. The situation is exactly what Zhang Ziulan and the other girls thought. On the official website of Tea Beauty and Moonlight, it is clearly stated that Li Yuan will sing at the awards ceremony on January 5, 2009. This breaking news instantly detonated the entire internet. Tickets for this special concert instantly became a hot commodity and were snapped up like crazy. Among Li Yuan's multiple book club leader fan groups, these die-hard fans who reward Li Yuan as leader or above are all frantically trying to find ways to get tickets. Xiaohua's number one fan, sisters, hurry up and congratulate me. I just received an invitation from the official website of Chayan USE to attend this concert. Xiaohua's little follower, how did you receive the official invitation letter from Chayan USE? Please teach me quickly. Xiaohua's number one fan, some time ago, wasn't there a grand opening event for Xiaohua's Chayan USE? In order to support Xiaohua's boyfriend, I bought more than 100 cups of milk tea in total and won the first prize award. The first prize is the invitation to this concert. I'm not a star-chasing fan, it's true or false? It turns out that the news circulated on the official website of Chayan USE is true. The first prize is really a concert ticket. I've lost a lot. Is it still too late to buy milk tea now? Xiaohua's number one fan, it probably won't work. The event has ended now. It depends on whether you can grab the tickets at 12 noon today. However, there are only 2,000 tickets for sale on the official website this time. It's probably hard to get. Nuanyang after the storm, hey, I have already asked several friends to help me grab it as soon as 12 o'clock comes. I don't believe it. There is someone faster than me who has been single for 18 years. Xiaohua's little follower, that's not necessarily true. A mere 2,000 tickets are not enough for our Xiaohua family to digest. I can guarantee that they will be gone in less than 10 minutes. Nuanyang after the storm, hey, let's not talk anymore. I'm going to grab the tickets. It's Xiaohua's first solo concert. I have to go to it no matter what. Tianshan swordsman, hurry up and get ready to grab tickets. Stephen Fenfang, 10 mobile phones are ready. Waiting for 12 o'clock to arrive. I don't believe it. I can't grab them. Menji Pastoral, wow, I envy you so much. You are all in the Magic City, and I am still thousands of miles away. I can't go back at all. Alas, I can only miss Yahweh's first concert. You must video of the whole process was taken and sent to the group. When the fallen leaves are blown by the wind, why should anyone be so sad? Don't worry, leave it to me. I have studied photography. Longjia Building, the headquarters of Chayan USE. Backend Data Center. Li Yuan, Zhongtingyu, Baiwuxi, Su Yunding, and Xiao's Haijin, who was here for the first time, were waiting for the official website to open the ticket-grabbing window. Seeing Li Yuan's calm expression, Zhongtingyu couldn't help but ask curiously. Senior, aren't you nervous at all? Li Yuan smiled and said calmly, what's the point of being nervous? Are you still worried that the tickets won't be sold out? Baiwuxi continued with some anxiety on his face, but, are the tickets starting at 1,000 yuan too expensive? If they can't be sold. Baiwuxi was embarrassed to finish speaking, but glanced at Li Yuan, showing worry. The meaning was self-evident. Li Yuan laughed, if I can't sell even 2,000 tickets, then I won't write songs in the future. I'll just be my boss and go into business. Li Yuan didn't look worried. A concert ticket of 1,000 yuan is not too expensive. There are only 2,000 tickets. It is impossible that they cannot be sold out, right? Just rely on the many fans who queue up to support Chayan USE. Li Yuan didn't believe it. They would not buy tickets for their long-awaited solo concert. If the fans really didn't buy it, he might as well just buy it himself. No, you don't need to buy it yourself, just change the background data. Anyway, this is an awards ceremony held by his own company, and it couldn't be easier to do something with his hands. Zhongtingyu suddenly thought of something and asked curiously, Senior, what songs are you going to sing at this award ceremony? After Zhongtingyu finished speaking, Baiwuxi and Xiao's Haijin also looked curious. In the past few months, Li Yuan has written a lot of songs, but basically they were written for these girls. Several girls were particularly curious about what song Li Yuan would sing at the awards ceremony on January 5th. She was also vaguely hoping that Li Yuan could sing the song for them. Li Yuan looked at the three beautiful faces that looked like gods, all staring at him tenderly, waiting for his answer. In my heart, I suddenly felt like this life is worth it. Being able to have so many beautiful girlfriends, Baiyu Egwang, the perfect goddess, the treasure girl, and the elf and angel I once had, has made this life really worth it. Li Yuan joked, "Hey, I haven't decided what song to sing yet. How about I make a suggestion for your reference?" "What suggestions?" the three girls asked in unison. Li Yuan chuckled, "Didn't I write songs for you all? How about each of the three of you go on stage and sing one?" Listening to Li Yuan's whimsical suggestion, Zhong Tingyu, Bai Wuxi, and Xiao's Haijin shook their heads in unison. Zhong Tingyu said, No, that's too shameful. There are so many people here, and I don't sing very well." Although Bai Wuxi felt a little moved in her heart, she felt that she couldn't hold it in such a huge scene. After hesitating for a moment, she quickly refused. "Brother, let me forget it. I will be too nervous in this kind of scene." As for Xiao's Haijin, not to mention, staring at Li Yuan's half-smiling eyes, she quickly shook her head in rejection. "Me, I can't either." Li Yuan was speechless and continued to admonish, "Look at you three, why are you so timid? This is an award ceremony held by our own company. As the boss ladies, what do you three have to be afraid of?" Zhong Tingyu rolled her eyes at Li Yuan and snorted, "Humph, I don't want it. We can sing it to you in private. Besides, this is a public sale of tickets. So many fans are here to see you, isn't it? Come to see us. Wuxi, Zhaijin, am I right?" Bai Wuxi and Xiao's Haijin nodded in agreement. "Yes, those fans must have spent so much money to buy tickets to hear you sing. He, the three of us will not show our shame." Just as Li Yuan was about to say something more, he heard Su Yunting, who was watching the ticket sales on the official website, said in surprise, "Mr. Li, the tickets were sold out in less than a minute just after they were released." Chapter 265 Meet an Uncle, Office Tku, 2-in-1 chapter, monthly ticket plus updates. Li Yuan asked in surprise, "What? It's only been a minute since the tickets were released, and they've been sold out." Although he expected that his popularity would be very high, he did not expect it to be so high. The minimum ticket for this Milk Tea Sister Award show is 1,000 yuan, and some front row tickets are as high as 3,000 to 4,000 yuan. In terms of price alone, it is no cheaper than Jay Chu's last World Tour concert. The price was so expensive, but it was sold out in just 1 minute. This speed is indeed a bit exaggerated. Even the concert tickets of superstars like Jalen and Dihua can't be snatched up so quickly, right? Is the spending power of my own singing fans so terrifying? Li Yuan was full of doubts. After hearing this, Bai Wuxi also asked with doubts on his face, "Mr. Su, was it really all robbed in 1 minute?" Su Yunting nodded happily and confirmed, "The background shows that it was indeed sold out in 1 minute." Zhong Tingyu glanced at Li Yuan and joked, as expected of the legendary Xiahua male god, "He is so popular." Su Yunting smiled slightly and said, "Yes, Mr. Li has too many fans, and they are also very fanatical." After hearing that Mr. Li will hold a solo concert after the award ceremony, the internet went crazy. "I'm trying every possible way to want to get concert tickets." After the tickets were sold out, a large number of fans left messages in the comment area below the official website, requesting us to open more tickets. 2,000 tickets are far from meeting the needs of fans. "Mr. Li, do you think we need more tickets?" Next to Li Yuan, Bai Wuxi, a finance major, immediately started calculating economic accounts in his mind. According to the minimum ticket price of 1000 yuan, the average ticket price is about 1500 yuan. The price of 2000 tickets is 3 million. It is almost possible to earn back the bonus from the Milk Tea Sisters selection event. Do those celebrities make so much money from holding concerts? Bai Wuxi stared at Li Yuan with eyes full of admiration. This idol in the hearts of thousands of girls was her man. Li Yuan looked at Zhong Tingyu, Bai Wuxi, and Xiao Haijin, and asked with a smile. What do you think? Should we add some new tickets? If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 460. Zhong Tingyu glanced at Li Yuan and said lightly, our awards ceremony on January 5th will be held at the Longjia Hotel, which can only accommodate about 3,000 people. If we add more tickets, we can only change the location. In terms of time, it may not be possible in time, right? Bai Wuxi also had the same view. At the Longjia Hotel, the scene is already being arranged, with various lights, backgrounds, props. Would it be bad if we suddenly change the location? Li Yuan smiled slightly and looked at Xiao Haijin. Haijin, what do you think? Xiao Haijin glanced at Li Yuan and replied in a low voice, if there is enough time, we can change the venue. Li Yuan understood what the three girlfriends meant and smiled, then let's proceed as planned. Today is already January 2nd. If I want to change the venue, the time is too tight. If it backfires, it will be bad. Li Yuan then shrugged and joked to himself. Speaking of which, it's the first time for me to hold this kind of event. I'm a little nervous in front of so many fans. It's better to keep the number of people small. Zhong Tingyu chuckled and joked, Senior, last time you were at Jay Chu's concert, in front of tens of thousands of spectators, you were not nervous at all. You sang so affectionately. Li Yuan smiled coquettishly, that's different. Can other people's special performances be the same as my own special performances? Zhong Tingyu likes to see Li Yuan's slightly embarrassed look, so that he can appear to be a real person. He is his own man, not the legendary magical genius. Senior, do we need to invite some people to this awards ceremony? Li Yuan's eyes lit up, and he almost forgot about this. In any case, this is also a large-scale nationwide event organized by Tea Beauty and Moonlight. There are more than 2,000 milk tea girls participating in all provinces and cities across the country, and the number of people who participated in voting is as many as dozens. 10,000. It is not an exaggeration to use the phrase national audition. For such an important event, it is natural to invite some guests to participate to build momentum. Li Yuan touched Zhong Tingyu's head. She was indeed the most business-savvy among his girlfriends and could check for his mistakes and fill in his gaps. Li Yuan happily praised, Little Moon, you are so smart. If you hadn't reminded me, I almost forgot about this matter. You helped me a lot. Zhong Tingyu, who was touched and killed by Li Yuan in front of several other girlfriends and praised mercilessly, suddenly felt shy and had a blush on her face. She just mentioned it casually, feeling very embarrassed. Isn't this kind of thing common sense? You all help me think about it, who should I invite to this event? After hearing Li Yuan's words, several people turned their heads and answered in all directions. Bai Wuxi was the first to answer, I think we can invite a few leaders and professors from our school to attend this awards party. We are all college students now, and we may need support from the school in the future. Zhong Tingyu then replied, you can also invite some business partners to participate, such as Mr. Wu from Yuandian Chinese Network, editor Xing Kong, and Mr. Yu from Wanji Company. These people have all dealt with you. Seeing that Bai Wuxi and Zhong Tingyu had expressed their opinions, Xiao Haijin glanced at them, then cast his eyes on Li Yuan, and whispered. Uncle, Aunt, and Zixia, they should also come to participate, right? Bai Wuxi added, there are also some of our classmates and friends, would you like to invite them to come and have a look? Su Yunding on the side saw three beautiful boss ladies with fairy looks. You talked to me, making suggestions for Li Yuan and proposing various invitations. I felt very interesting in my heart. After her contact and observation these days. Although the three proprietresses are all young and have top-notch figures and looks, they have completely different characteristics. She had the earliest contact with Zhong Tingyu and understood the most. Zhong Tingyu's character is also the most outstanding. She has a resolute and strong woman character in everything she does. He also has a unique vision, and the various suggestions and ideas he puts forward are very forward-looking. He also has a big picture and overall view, and has a manager character. Although she is in charge of various affairs of the Tea Beauty and Moonlight Company, she is more like Zhong Tingyu's administrative assistant. She does many things according to Zhong Tingyu's instructions. Regarding Bai Wuxi, her feeling is that she is a very stable and rigorous girl. The financial work is very strictly controlled, and every account must be checked and accounted for personally. Although the skills are still a little rusty, over time and after training, there will be no problem in managing money. As for Xia's Haijin, she had only seen him in the past few days. The first impression of this girl who looks very quiet on the outside is that she is very gentle, considerate, virtuous, and sensible. To describe it in one word, she feels like a helpful wife. Mr. Li is really a winner in life. He is so talented, handsome, rich, and the girlfriends he has found are all so good. Su Yunding thought of her boyfriend and couldn't help comparing him with Li Yuan, and couldn't help but smile bitterly. In addition to being very kind and dedicated to her, her boyfriend was beaten by Li Yuan in every aspect. That's good too. We women, in the end, still have to find a man who loves us deeply to spend our lives. Li Yuan discussed with his three girlfriends for a while. Basically, all the people who can be thought of have been included. Including school leaders, college professors, business partners, university classmates, high school friends, etc., there are dozens of people in total. Li Yuan looked at the four women in front of him and told them. Today is January 2nd, we still have 3 days to prepare in advance. For example, the invitation letter should be made as soon as possible. I want to see it tomorrow at the latest, including the layout of the scene, sound, music, hosting, welcoming guests, etc. There are many things. Mr. Su, Xiao Yueliang, Xiao Bai, Zhaijin, you should go to the scene more often, check it out in person, and guide it in person. We must make this Milk Tea Sister Award ceremony perfect, try not to make mistakes, and show the image and ability of our Chayan Use. Zhong Tingyu and Bai Wuxi looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Li Yuan laughed at himself again. As for me, I have to cram and get familiar with the songs now. Originally, Li Yuan didn't want to sing at this awards ceremony. But there are too many fans, and they have spent so much money to support his milk tea business. After thinking about it, he can only choose to perform for them. Anyway, in this life, after the gift of rebirth, the level of singing and playing instruments is still pretty good. Although there is still a big gap compared with those top-level talented singers. But if the talent is not enough, the quality will make up. Music is originally a form of entertainment that can be appreciated by both the elite and the masses, as long as the audience likes to listen to it. Such as Mouse Loves Rice, Perfume is Poisonous, Little Apple, etc., the quality of the songs is indeed very average, but they are still very popular. Music is not about being highbrow and unpopular, but about being popular with the masses. As long as the music is popular with the masses, it is good music. Hearing Li Yuan talking about the songs prepared for the awards ceremony, Zhong Tingyu, Bai Wuxi, and Xia's Haijin all stared at him with anticipation and curiosity. Zhong Tingyu asked with a smile, "He, senior, tell me which songs you are going to sing so that I can prepare them on the program." Li Yuan joked, how about I sing all the songs I wrote for you guys? Zhong Tingyu's eyes suddenly lit up and she nodded quickly, okay. Okay. I also want to know what songs you wrote for us sisters. After Zhong Tingyu finished speaking, she blinked at Bai Wuxi and Xia's Haijin with her beautiful eyes and asked curiously. Wuxi, Haijin, what songs did Li Yuan write for you? Bai Wuxi blushed and felt a little embarrassed when she thought of the two songs Li Yuan wrote specifically for her. One is called The Rest of My Life, which I sang on my birthday night. Another one is called White Moonlight and Cinnabar Mole, which was written in mid-October, after that incident. Listening to Bai Wuxi's answer, Zhong Tingyu chuckled and said. He also wrote two songs for me, one is called Nanshan Nan and the other is called Just Once. Haijin, what about yours? Xia's Haijin answered shyly, the song he wrote for me is called Little Lucky. Zhong Tingyu asked in surprise, just this one? Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan secretly from the corner of her eyes, and said shyly. Zhong Tingyu rolled her eyes at Li Yuan and joked. He, senior, you have to treat everyone equally. You wrote two songs for me and Wuxi, so why did you only write one for Haijin? Zhong Tingyu finished speaking with a smile, and Xia's Haijin and Bai Wuxi both looked at Li Yuan, waiting for her answer. Li Yuan answered seriously without blushing. Writing songs requires inspiration. The time is not right yet. When the time comes, I will write for you. Bai Wuxi thought of the song Li Yuan sang for her at her birthday party and asked. This time is like our birthday. Li Yuan nodded, almost. Zhong Tingyu suddenly thought of another girl from another school. She stared at Li Yuan with her beautiful eyes and continued to joke.